Well, thank you very much. It's really great to be here. One of the really great pleasures I'm finding about this this kind of new career I have of just doing books is I'm getting to meet a lot of the people whose work I have really admired for a very long time, and that has never really been more true than tonight. I can remember back going into the mid '80s when I would, before I became a columnist, and I was the overnight editor on either the city desk or the news desk, and those got to be sometimes, you start at 11 o'clock at night and go to 6 in the morning, and those could be very long, deadly, brutal shifts if nothing was going on. You just thought, please let there be a fire, you know. Let something horrible happen to somebody, because otherwise we just can't stay awake. So a lot of times for that midnight shift that I did for so long, I would bring a book to read, and often it was the copy boys who were the ones who said, like one of the copy boys said, "You got to read this," and it was Elmore Leonard, you know, and I thought, okay, I'll try that, and I think another night they said, "You got to read this," and I think that was Tourist Season by Carl Hiaasen. And the great thing about reading, like Tourist Season, Double Whammy, Skin Tight, reading those on the overnight shift is that it's very hard to fall asleep when you're laughing. So they were wonderful books to be reading in that kind of a situation. And the other thing that was great is that I found very much with these books when I would read them is that a lot of times, after you'd finished one of Carl's books, you might forget some of the various plot machinations, but there was always at least one character that was very vividly stayed with you. Because you'd think, okay, I've just read this book, and one of the characters has a weed eater, a weed whacker, at the end of his arm as a prosthesis, and I'm thinking, was that the weed whacker in one of Carl's books or the weed whacker guy from another guy's book? Because it was only one person who could dream up a character like that. So it'd either be, Chemo with the weed whacker arm, or the, Skink, the ex-governor who was living off roadkill in the Everglades. I mean, or another one I love, and I'm gonna have to ask, I can't remember which book this was, but the guy who spent most of the book talking to the dismembered head of a rabid dog that was attached to his arm. And I thought, and yet, I've known Carl for like 30 minutes. He presents as incredibly sane. This doesn't make any sense at all, but these were the craziest characters I'd come across. And he has written some of the sharpest and funniest, and I would also say probably angriest books of the last couple of decades. Skinny Dip, Sick Puppy, Stormy Weather, Nature Girl, and now Star Island, which is an absolutely a tour de force. This is a wonderful book. And I was going to ask, if somebody comes up with a 3-word title, are they fired? And the other thing I have to, and of course there's been 3 young adult novels, there's a book about golf, a couple of movies in there, he's still doing his column for the Miami Herald. Apparently, some people have the fortitude to keep doing a column when they're doing well with books. Not all of us are able to do that. And the other thing I absolutely love is there's not many authors who get this, but I love these books where the pages are uneven on the edges. They're kind of, what do you call that? It's like a Ruffles potato chip on the edges. I love that. And last time I looked, which was earlier today, Star Island was number 6 on Amazon in the US. So, this guy's something else. Please welcome Carl Hiaasen. All right.
I got 2 microphones on. Are either of them working? Good.
We're good?
Okay, good. And I'm going to talk like this the whole time.
Now, at one point there had been talk that you might have done a short reading at the beginning, and then we thought people would rather just probably hear us talk and so forth.
They'd rather listen to you. I mean,
no, I don't know.
That was the best introduction. Can I go back and you can do some more of that?
They're sick. Listen, they've had dealing with me for 15, 20 years. They're sick of me.
No, I don't think so.
But so I don't want to do this. You tell us, and just the briefest bit, what is going on in Star Island?
Well, let me begin by explaining why I still write the newspaper column. Because the insurance coverage, it's the only way I can... It's the only way I can get my health insurance in the United States, so I stay employed.
I get that. When I was thinking of leaving the Toronto Star, the thing that kept me the longest was I kept saying to my wife, "What about dental?"
That's right. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard these days. Star Island is set in South Beach, which is Miami Beach. It's the small section of Miami Beach where absolutely everybody who's anybody in the world of celebrity, and I use the term loosely, but that's where they want to go and be seen. It's also a place where nothing of consequence ever happens. It is just a festival of vanity and self-absorption and pretension. So I'd always wanted to set a novel there. Now, and I'd also always wanted to turn skink loose on South Beach. These are all vicarious things. This is an insight into the literary thinking. I just said, I got to come up with a plot that turns him loose, and I just wanted to see some carnage on that place. So I have been, in the last few years, as I'm sure you have, and you all too, I've been overwhelmed by the expansion, at least in our country, of the celebrity news business. It's the only segment of so-called journalism that's expanding or thriving, is the coverage of people, most of marginally talented, eminently forgettable people, who we spend a lot of time following. And now with Twitter, we know when they get cramps. We hear about that on Twitter. So there's no aspect of their lives that aren't shared with us now, and we have two wars going, a recession and an environmental catastrophe in the Gulf of Mexico. And the lead story on a lot of TV stations, and the story that's getting the most hits in our newspaper can track which stories on the website gets the most hits. You know, here's a choice between, here's a story about cleaning the oil off the pelicans in Louisiana, or here's a story about Lindsay Lohan's latest incarceration. Which do you think is going to be the most popular? It's the most depressing aspect, I think. But it loomed larger, and I just wanted to write write satire, that's what you do. It seemed like such a ripe target. South Beach seemed like such a good place to set it, so I devised this, what they call in Hollywood a Pop-Tart, a little starlet who has some personal problems, and her stage name is Cherry Pie, but her given name is Cheryl Bunterman. But there's never been a star named Cheryl Bunterman, so her mom thinks up this sort of semi-porny name for her, and she's 22 and she's on her third comeback. But the worst part of all, and then she is so wasted so much of the time that, and she's got a big tour coming up and a new CD called Scantily Clad with K's. That's how they spell it. Very clever. That they need to present the illusion that she's ambulatory. So they hire an actress who is really, in my view, sort of the star of the book, to sort of be her celebrity stunt double and sort of show up fleetingly at parties and things as bait for the paparazzi, because Cherry usually can't really get out of bed. So they have to, and this poor actress who I like, her name is Ann Delusia, and I like her. But at the center of the evil vortex, I guess, is I wanted to put a paparazzo in one of these novels for a long time, because I knew what I was going to do to him in the end, and quite literally. But I mean, the last novel I wrote, Nature Girl, I had a telemarketer, and telemarketer, and my challenge was, where do I go that's lower than that? What's